What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Qasim and today I'll be reviewing for you all the DJI Mini 2 drone. Now this is my first drone ever and I didn't know if I should go for something like this or go all out with something more expensive and more advanced. I went with the Fly More combo, which comes in at $600, and I'm really glad for that because those extra batteries really come in handy. Now before I get this video started and going, I just want to say check the description down below because there's lots to cover and I've divided this video into chapters so you can jump to whichever section you want to see. Alright, so first and foremost, let's start with what's in the box. Now in the box you actually get the bag, which contains everything, your drone, the battery charger, and all of your good stuff. Now opening this for the first time, I was so impressed by just the feel of the bag. The bag felt premium and I knew that I was about to have a good product experience. The bag actually has quite a lot of space, like you're going to put your controller, drone, the battery charger, all of your extra propellers or anything else you might need, but I was able to even put my phone in there. I was able to put a microphone that I put on my phone for when I go out. So it's got plenty of space, and what's nice is that you've got a handle on the side so that you can carry it around or you can throw it over your head and wear it sideways like this. And it's really nice. It's a great bag and I've really enjoyed it. Now next, inside the bag you're going to have some accessories. So I'm going to talk about the little accessories before I move on to the controller and the drone. So you have these extra propellers. You get 3 sets of these. Now, when you put these on, guys, you want to make sure they're labeled A and B. So the A ones are your front right and your rear left propellers, and then the B ones are your front left and rear right. So you want to make sure that you put them on, and it also says to change the screws out. And these propellers are really handy because trust me, once you start having fun and get your hands dirty with this drone, you are going to run into trees and eventually break a propeller because I've already done that myself. So you get 3 sets of these, then you get the actual little screwdriver. So this screwdriver is going to help unscrew the propellers, so this comes handy. Now you also get 2 extra thumbsticks. So on the controller, the thumbsticks are tucked away, so this is nice if you ever drop one or lose one, or I guess if it wears out, you have 2 extra. Now next you have these extra cables. So you've got a micro USB cable and a USB-C. So by default, the controller has the lightning cable attached to it so you can plug in your phone. So these cables, so if you have an Android phone that's using micro USB or USB Type-C, all you can do is replace that cable attachment and then you'll be able to attach your phone and use the DJI Fly app with the controller. Next, you've got your wall adapter and your USB-C cable. So this is what you're going to plug into the battery charging hub, which we're going to talk about next. So now here's the cool thing about this battery charging hub. When you have 3 batteries and you put them in here, if a battery is at 50% and the other one is at 40% and then the third one is at 30%, what's going to happen is that the charger is automatically going to charge the battery that's at 50%. So the battery that has the most charge. And that's cool because you can get right out to flying and having more fun. So I really like that. It's going to charge them in order so it has the batteries ready for you as quickly as possible. Now on the right side here, you have the power button. So by pressing this, you can see the charge indication of all the batteries. And the other cool thing is that you have an out USB port. Now, here's the thing. So you get 1 charger for both the hub and the controller. And when you come back from a flight or burning through 3 different batteries, your controller is going to need charging too. So what I like to do is I plug in the cable into this with the power adapter, and then I take an out USB-C cable and I plug it into the controller, so that way all of my stuff is getting charged and I'll be ready to go whenever the next time to fly is. All right, next let's talk about the actual controller to the drone. So I'm going to touch up on this briefly before I get into detail, but I will guide you guys through exactly how the controller works, what all the buttons do. But what I love about this controller is the size. I didn't have the previous Mini, and I did see that that controller was a lot smaller, so I actually like this size. I've got larger hands, this thing fits perfect. All the buttons are easily accessible, and I love these grips. These grips are nice and grippy. Now on the controller here, you have your thumbsticks. Now these come out of the storage compartment and just screw right into the controller. Now what's nice about these thumbsticks is that they have these little grooves in them. And I've noticed that these stick into your thumb so perfectly, you're not going to lose control of your drone when you're flying. Like your hands aren't going to accidentally fall off or slide off of the actual joystick. So I really like that. In the center here, you have your mode selection, your power button. I'm going to get into all these buttons in a little bit, but another thing I really loved is this actual place where you put your phone. So the phone holder. Now I record with an iPhone a lot, and whenever you put it into a tripod clamp, you want to make sure that the buttons are not being pressed by the clamp, otherwise your phone is going to go crazy. What I love about this is that it has these grooves. They were so smart, and I love little things when companies do this type of stuff. These grooves, your phone slides in, doesn't matter where the buttons are because the buttons are not going to get pressed. They designed this in a way so that it would hold your phone and at the same time not mess with the buttons. So I really like that. And of course, inside here is where you actually have the cable that plugs into your phone. We're going to set this aside and talk about it in detail a little bit later. Last but not least, guys, we have the drone itself. Now, one thing I really loved, and again, I'm going to go over literally the design of this thing, everything on this drone in detail, but what I loved right away was the stickers that were on this. They basically guide you as to how to open this up, how to open up the battery compartment, how to remove this. It is so nice. Like being a first-time owner and not having flown a drone before, having those stickers as a guide to tell you what you need to do, that was really awesome. And also this new strap. So this is basically going to hold the propellers in place. If you just take this thing off, you'll notice that they flop around and it's harder to put in a bag or put away. But with this on, it just makes it nice and neat, and you can tuck this away and carry it with you wherever you go. So that, my friends, is everything that you are going to get in the box. All right, guys, so now let's talk about the drone. And like I mentioned before, this little strap is really handy. It's really easy to tuck away. I want to talk about the actual design. So when I was looking around this thing, up front here, you actually have these vents. So this is where the air passes, because one of the things I was thinking is that how can this thing go so fast and keep so cool? Because obviously it's going to heat up, right? The battery, the motors, everything is working, especially in sport mode. So how does this thing actually cool down? So these vents here, they pass air through. So if you open up the battery compartment and look inside, you'll see these vent holes from inside. And so all that air is going through the body of the drone. And then you've got right on top of the battery compartment, you've got two vent holes over there. So you've got air going to the battery, and everything is kind of circulating and coming down out from the bottom. That's really cool. I really like that. I don't know if you guys even care, but it's just something I observed and I liked. Now, when it comes to actually opening the propellers, you want to make sure you open the front propellers first. And like I said, the sticker actually tells you to do this, because if you actually open the rear ones first, you're not going to be able to open the front ones. You get all these open and there it is. Your drone is all set and ready to go. Now up front here, you have this light. Now what's cool is that with the app, you can actually customize this light. So if you guys know my channel, I like RGB light, so I set it to rainbow. So it's gonna cycle through a bunch of different colors. Now this right here is your camera lens protector. So this is going to protect your camera when it's not in use. It just snaps on and off, and before flight, you're always gonna need to take this off. All right guys, so down at the bottom here, you have the power button. Now, in order to turn this on, I don't read manuals. I know I should, and I know most of us don't. And so I was like just messing with this thing again and again, trying to get it on. But you do a short press and then a long press, and that's going to turn it on. You're gonna hear some sounds, and it's going to beep, adjust the gimbal, and get the lights going, and you are good to go, ready to fly. So let's turn this off real quick. Now down here you have these sensors. So this is actually, this drone doesn't have like obstacle avoidance like the other more expensive drones do. So it doesn't have sensors all over, but it does have these two in the bottom. Now what this is going to do is tell the drone how far it is from the ground. So I was messing with this. I would put my hand under it and it just flies away. This is really nice if you're like flying on top of water. Like I got some pretty cool shots with this at the lake filming some geese, and what's nice is that you know that the drone is just not going to go into the water or get too low. Anytime it gets close enough, then it just readjusts itself to a default height. Now one thing to keep in mind with these is that I did notice that when it gets darker, it is harder for the drone. So when it was darker, I literally had to tap on this on the bottom to make the drone realize that it's getting close to the ground. So that is just something I picked up on. So I don't know if it was just like a one-time thing or if it's something that's going to happen again and again. So just keep that in mind. Now at the very back is where you have your battery compartment. It's really easy, slides out, slides back in, and that's how the battery works. Now here is your SD card slot, and here is your USB-C slot. So you can actually charge this drone with a battery in it if you really wanted to. Now as far as the SD card goes, I would say go for 128 gig at least. That's gonna be, because with 3 batteries, I've noticed I can easily have like an hour and a half, a good hour and a half. And if I'm really pushing the drone like in sport mode and just flying it a lot, it reduces the battery life to like 20 minutes per battery. So I at least have an hour of flying time. Now, in that much time, even if I was recording again and again and again, I wouldn't be able to fill up this 128 gig. And what's nice is that whenever you do bring the drone back, you can transfer everything from the aircraft via the app, which we're actually going to talk about in a little bit. So I got a SanDisk 128 gig because the files, sometimes 5-minute files from this drone are multiple gigs. So you want to just keep that in mind. It doesn't come with one, so you're going to need to get one. So I'll link it down below which one I'm using. If you guys want to grab that one, you can. Now on the side here, guys, you will see it says ultralight 249 grams. So now this may not be important to you, the weight, but it is actually really important because most drone restrictions start at 250 grams. So this is right under that limit. So you're not going to have any issues, but you do want to be careful. I would say that read your local laws. What's nice is that with the app, you can see in the map exactly which zones are restricted, but you always want to double check using third-party apps and just checking your local laws, because you don't want to get a fine for flying this thing around. Like in our area, we're limited, some parts we're limited to 60 meters, and other parts we have up till 120 meters. So, and then we have certain zones near our airport which are totally restricted. And then since I live close to DC, there's a whole designated area of our region where you can't even fly without a permit. So you just want to check your local laws and make sure you're following the rules when it comes to flying. Now, speaking of flying, guys, so I have been trying to go as far as possible in just a residential area. So I went to a field that's near our houses, and I've been able to get this as far as 1,000 meters. And that's been it. After that, the transmission starts getting weak for me, and I'm not willing to risk it, so I just bring the drone back and I don't go further than that. But even 1,000 meters, I think that is more than enough for me to enjoy just flying around and having some fun. Now, in terms of the actual distance, this has the OcuSync 2.0 transmission, and what that means is that you'll get up to 10 kilometers. So whenever I get the chance to go in a rural area and really test that out, I will do that. But for locally, 1,000 meters, it's perfectly fine. Now with OcuSync 2.0, you also get your 1080p video feed at all distances. So that live video that you're actually seeing from the drone in such good quality, it's because of OcuSync 2.0. So that is a real plus. Like just being able to have a high definition view of wherever you're going is really awesome. Alright guys, so next let's talk about this controller. Now I already told you about the grips and how I love the thumbsticks. That all is great, but what's important is all these different buttons and what exactly they do. So we're going to start with the actual power on button. Now this, again, I should have read the manual and I should have followed instructions, but you know, that's what I like to do. I like to play around with my tech. You're just going to press this once and press and hold it. It beeps and now the controller is on. And same thing for turning it off. Now, it isn't until you actually connect your phone that they two are going to pick up each other and link up. So let's start with the actual modes. You have Cine mode, normal mode, and sport mode. Real tip for you guys, when you are flying for the first time, fly in the Cine mode. This has very soft movements. So this is made so that you can practice getting all that cinematic video. So the drone is not going to have any harsh movements, and going left, going right, ascending, descending, it's all going to happen really softly and smoothly. And that's why I think this is the perfect mode. Like for myself, when I started, that's all I flew in. I did not bother with normal mode and I did not bother with sport mode until I really figured out exactly how the controls work. I stuck in that mode. So this mode is really nice. And plus, if you're somebody that's into video like myself, then this is the mode that is going to let you capture those really nice buttery shots. It's going to take a lot of practice, but it's definitely worth it. Now, normal mode is basically a balance between the two. The drone isn't going to fly super fast and the drone isn't going to be super soft. It's right there in the middle. So it's like a happy medium between the two. Last, let's talk about sport mode. Now this is exactly what it sounds like. The drone is going to ascend quickly, descend quickly, turn quickly. It's just going to be a sharp flying experience. Like it's really fun. If you really want to haul around the drone, then this is the mode that you want to be in. I rarely have been flying in this simply because I'm happy with normal and Cine. Sport is a little bit too aggressive for me for now, but as I practice more, I'm sure I'll get better. Now to the left of this, you have the return to home and pause button. So guys, whenever your drone is going to take off, it's going to capture a GPS location of where it took off from. Now this, whenever you press this button, wherever your drone is, it's going to come back to home. Now you can actually set the altitude. So let's say you're in an area with a lot of trees and you've got to go up to 60 meters and then fly around to make sure you don't hit anything. So you could set the return to home altitude as 60 meters. So let's say you're flying around at 70, 80 and you're twisting and turning, doing your thing. You finally want to hit the return to home button. When you press that, it's going to come down to that 60 altitude that you set and then start working its way back to the home location. And at any point, if you do feel like, oh, it's about to go into a tree or I need control of my drone, you can just move the joystick and get control of the drone. So you can quit that. And that brings me to the pause button. You can simply press the pause button and that'll pause anything. So whenever your drone is flying about, if you feel like you're about to hit something, just quickly hit the pause button and it will stop right there and then and just keep floating in place until you do something else. All right guys, so now I want to show you the actual joystick controls for the drone. These are in default mode. I will show you how to customize these a little bit later. Now with the left joystick, if you press up on this, and depending how much you're pressing, it's going to ascend quickly or slowly. And then going down is going to descend. So it's going to bring it down. Now, left and right with this joystick is just simply going to pan the camera. So if we do it slowly or faster, it's in cine mode, so everything is smooth and buttery. But going left and right, that's what you're going to be able to do with the left joystick. All right, now let's talk about the second joystick. Now with this one, if you want to go forward, you're simply going to press it up. And now the drone is moving forward. And you can see in the bottom here, we have the distance and it's going forward. And likewise, to bring it back, you can just press down. And then left and right with this, it's actually just going to stay along one axis. So it's just going to move over in a line to the left. So just like that, or to the right. So if you actually wanted to go forward and then pan at the same time, you would need both joysticks. And guys, I'm telling you, once you practice, once you just get your hands dirty with this drone, you're going to be good in no time, and you're going to be able to fly it so nicely and smoothly, just like I'm doing right now. Look at this sky, by the way. Like, this wasn't even planned, but that sky looks beautiful. All right guys, so that's a quick tutorial of how to use the joysticks. Like I said, practice makes perfect. Let's go back inside and continue with this video. Now up here is the function button. This you can actually customize in the app, and I will tell you exactly how to do that as well. Right here to the right, you have the camera button. So this is going to switch between photo mode and record mode. And what's cool is that you have this button right up here. So this is for photo or record. So if you're in photo mode and you press on this, it's going to take a picture. And likewise, if you're in video mode and you press on this, it's going to start and stop your recording. Now on the left side here, you have this little dial. This is actually what controls the gimbal. Now by default, the gimbal only goes down and up to a 0-degree angle, but with the app, there's a setting that you can change, and you'll be able to rotate the gimbal upwards as well to, I think, 20 degrees. And I'll show you guys that as well. Now another cool thing, when these two buttons are pressed together, you can actually get a nice and soft zoom. Now the zoom on this thing is all digital, so it's a 2x zoom, but it doesn't matter. Like normally I wouldn't use digital zoom because I know it reduces your quality, but with the drone that's up in the sky and you're capturing all this awesome footage, it doesn't matter. I'd happily use the zoom. And like I mentioned before, this is where your phone is held and cradled, and up top here is where your antenna system is. So it's right on top of your phone. And real quick tip for you guys, if you really want to go the distance, you want this facing the way that the drone is. So if your drone is north of you, you want to like line up the two. And there's a compass in the app that we'll talk about, and you can use that to line up the two and really get the most distance so that this antenna is providing the clearest and direct signal to the drone when flying. Now when you are ready to take off with your controller, one cool thing is that you have the takeoff option in the app, but another way that you guys can do it is that bring both joysticks down and inward and hold them there, and it'll start the propellers. But it won't be strong enough to actually take off. The propellers will just start running, and then all you've got to do is ascend and it'll take off. Alright guys, let's talk about the DJI Fly app. Now I want to show you all the cool stuff that I found important. So if you do have any other questions about the app, just reach out to me in the comments below and I'll help you. Now, when you first power on your controller, your drone, and you have your phone connected, your screen is going to look like this. Now, if we tap on Go Fly, this is now showing you what the drone is seeing. First and foremost, in the top left, there's a mode indicator. So whether you have the remote in Cine, normal, or sport, you're going to see that mode reflected up there. So that's nice. So you always know which mode your drone is in. To the right of that is your pre-flight check. So this is good because any kind of errors that the app or drone find to be helpful to you before you actually take off. For example, if you leave this cover on the camera lens, it's going to have that error here telling you to remove this. So things like this, you just want to check before you take off. Now here, you also have your auto return to home altitude. So remember, I told you guys that wherever you're flying, you want to find the highest distance that is going to be safe for when your aircraft returns back home. So for me, it was like 54 meters, so I had it set there. Now your max altitude, it is just a standard rule of thumb when flying drones that 400 feet is the highest that you should go. So I have it set right below that at 119 meters. Now max distance, this you can actually limit the amount of distance that the drone will be able to go away from you. So I didn't put a limit on this because I was actually testing it out to see how far it would go. On the right side where you see that 95, that is your battery icon. This is important. You want to keep an eye on this because if you tap on this, it's going to show you how much time you have remaining until the drone automatically returns to home, then how much time until the drone is forced to land, and then how much time until the battery is completely depleted. So this is very important when flying. You want to keep an eye on this. Now, what's nice is that when you are flying and your battery starts running low, the drone is automatically going to start engaging, returning to home. So it's not like if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know, but you want to just make sure that you have your eyes on this. Now, to the right of that is your actual signal for RC. So that is between the remote and the drone itself. So this, as you go further and further away, like when I went 1,000 meters, I noticed that the video feed started cutting in and out, and that's because the RC signal was actually weak. To the right of that, you have your GPS. So you want to make sure that you have good, strong GPS signal before you take off and start flying. All right, so in the top right, you have these three little dots. If you press on this, inside of the control tab is where you can customize a few things. So if you see front LED mode, I've got that set to rainbow. So you can actually mess around with this and change it to whatever you like. And if you scroll a little bit further down, you'll see allow upward gimbal rotation. You can turn this on to allow the gimbal to rotate upwards. That's 20 degrees, so it's really cool. You can get an upwards view too. And if you scroll down a little bit, phone charging. So if you have this on, the remote is actually gonna charge your phone at the same time. So if you feel like you need to charge your phone while flying, I don't turn this on because I always keep my phone like fully charged before I start flying, but you can turn this on. Now below that in stick mode is where you have the different options to customize the flying controls. Now inside here, you've got a bunch of preset configurations, but if you tap on custom and you scroll down and you select change setting, now you can press and hold on any one of these and swap it out with another one. So that's really cool that you can tweak the controls to your liking so you can have a better flying experience. All right guys, another thing I wanted to show you is the camera settings. So if you tap on the camera tab inside here, you're going to see that in photo, you have format of JPEG and RAW. So you have RAW photo capabilities. I'm not really going to be taking a lot of photos with this, but I've mainly gotten it for video. But with JPEG and RAW on, what's going to be nice is it's going to take 2 pictures in both formats. So with the RAW, once you go to edit those pictures, you'll be able to have full control of how you want to tweak it. Now another thing inside here is the actual size. So if you want the wide photos, you're going to do 16 by 9. That's on by default, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, one thing that I will tell you guys is to turn on the grid lines. So if you're really into photography and videography, then you're going to want to turn on the grid lines because, like, for example, when I filmed those geese, I made sure I had both the geese in between my right third and my left third of the frame, and keeping them there throughout that entire shot was very difficult, but the guidelines were the reason that it helped make it easier for me to do. Now below this here, you're also going to have your SD card information, so it's going to tell you how much space you have available in there. Now that's all I want to show you in there. Alright guys, so now next, if you look in the bottom, you'll see it says for camera icon, auto. So it's going to automatically adjust the settings based on what it thinks. So if you want to go into pro mode, you can do that. You can adjust your shutter speed, your white balance, your ISO. I'm not going to get into these things because then we'll be here for hours, but if you're into photography and videography, you'll know exactly what to do here. Now, it also shows you how many photos you can take. So storage, it says 4,758 pictures is what you're able to take with the amount of memory that you have. Now, the EV, if you tap on this, so whenever you take a photo, whenever you record a video, it's going to automatically adjust the exposure. What this setting is going to do is that if you set it to 0.3, 0.7, 1, 1.3, basically it's going to take those auto settings and adjust them by the amount that you select here. So if you don't like what exposure it's grabbing for a picture, for a video, and you want to adjust that down a little bit automatically, then you can use this. This is actually really helpful because sometimes it'll tend to be overexposed. You'll notice that the sky is a little bit too blown out. So adjusting this in bright conditions is going to be helpful. All right, now let's switch over to video mode. So if you tap up here, then you can select video mode, and same thing here, guys. You've got your, in the bottom, you've got your resolution controls and frames per second. So you can tap on that, change your resolution, select how many frames per second you want, and tweak that. Like I said, I've always left it at 4K 30 or 24. So I've just been playing around with these two. Now you'll also notice that you have this 1x. So if you tap on this, it'll zoom. 2x, 1x. And again, you've got your exposure setting here too. So if you want to tweak that, then you can do so. Now in the left side here is where your takeoff button is. So anytime you want to take off, you're going to press this, press and hold this, and the aircraft is going to take off for you. When it comes to the app, this is all the stuff. Now the only thing left that I really like is the quick shots. But for those, we're gonna have to go outside. All right guys, so we are outside. I've got the drone hovering and ready to go. You guys are actually seeing me from both the drone and my phone. So before we start the quick shot, I wanna show you the compass like I talked about earlier. So let's move our drone back a little bit. Now on this compass in the bottom left, if you notice, there's a blue circle. Now that blue circle is my location. Now there's a little point in front of me. That is my direction. So if I just move around a little bit, you'll notice that that actually changes. Now, when you want to go to the distance, you want to make sure that this and the drone are lined up, so that way you can get like a clear, direct signal between the two as far as possible. Now to the left of my blue dot is a yellow dot. So as the drone took off, this is the home point. So remember when I was talking about the returning to home and the drone capturing your location before it takes off? That's what this is. So you have your home point. So if we do return to home, it'll come right back. Okay, so let's bring this drone back and start our quick shots. So for quick shots, you want to be in video mode. So up above the record button, if you tap on this, guys, you'll open up a menu and you'll find quick shot. Select this, and inside here you have all the options for the different quick shots you can do. Now you'll notice there's a plus around me because that is the drone seeing me as a subject to track for these shots. So I could just tap on this plus, and now it's going to center me and track me as a subject for the shot. Now, if you don't see this, what you can do is simply draw a square around your subject and the drone will still be able to track it. All right, so let's go back into the quick shot menu. We're gonna choose Droney and let's just keep the distance at 30 meters. Now, before you actually do one of these quick shots, I'm in an open field, so I have nothing to the right of me, nothing to the left of me. I'll be okay whatever distance I set. You just want to make sure that you don't want to set a distance that this drone, while doing the shot, is going to end up in a tree or something. So as a beginner, if you're somebody doing this for the first time, you want to make sure that you'll be safe having it go the distance. Now, one thing that I did when I was in an area the other day with some trees, I just flew the drone to each side of me and I just looked at how far I can actually go. So you can measure the distance and see how far you can go and still be safe. All right, so once the quick shot is ready, all you've got to do is look in the camera, look not in the camera, whatever you want to do, press start, and the drone is going to start doing its thing. So for Droney, it's going to go up and back. So it's going to go back, and once the drone gets to its distance that you specified it's going to automatically return back to home. And you can see the progress in the bar. So 97%, 99%, quick shot complete, and the drone is going to fly right back to us. Now, when it is coming back to you, if you want to have it come faster, you can most certainly take over control and bring it back. All right, so see, it actually did, despite the fact, this is why I say that it flies really well. Despite the fact that there's so much wind today, it came right back to its home point without any problem, and it's actually in cine mode. So usually you want to do these in normal mode, but I just have it in cine. Now, let's go back into the quick shot menu and let's do rocket. Now, let's do, for this one, let's do 50 meters. And again, once you've changed the quick shot, I am a subject, so I'll tap on myself and hit start. And now for rocket, it's gonna go up and above us. And as it does that, it's gonna rotate the gimbal down so that it's looking right down at us. And there it goes. I am so surprised that even in cine mode right now, with the amount of wind that is happening, this drone is able to get to the height, keep track of me, and it's making its way back. This is absolutely amazing that this drone is so tiny, yet it can fly so well. And here it comes. And let's see, it should come right back to the home point. Perfect. So it's actually a little bit above where it started, but that's because of the wind. So let's bring it down, and yeah, that's good. All right, guys, so let's go back into the quick shot menu and do circle. Now with circle, you can actually choose whether you want it to go left or whether you want it to go right. And what it's going to do is just do a simple circle all the way around you while keeping the subject in the center. So again, let's select me as a subject. 2, 1. So now it's just going to start doing a circle all the way around us. So you can rotate with it, you can do your thing, whatever you want to do, you'll be good. And again, you can specify the distance for this one and it'll do that. And if you notice, it just stopped right over there, and that is because I wanted to show you guys that if you move the joysticks at any point, it's going to automatically stop wherever it is. Alright guys, so the next quick shot is going to be helix. Sorry if I'm yelling because it is really, really windy. So let's select me as a subject, let's have helix, and helix is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to do a helix around us and still keep us in the center. So there it goes. Let's going up. So these are fun shots, right? These are really cool. Imagine you're on vacation, you're at a hilltop, like I'm just in a field demonstrating, but imagine you were on vacation, doing your thing, having fun. You would be able to, you know, lay down on a beach or be at a hilltop and have the drone perform one of these shots. So it's just actually finished the shot and now it's coming back to its home point. So these are really neat, quick shots. And what happens is that when you're done and you actually import them from the aircraft, then DJI automatically can edit them for you if you want, and it'll give you a stock footage as well. Alright guys, so the last one I want to show you is boomerang. I've got it selected. I've just got to tap on myself, select myself as a subject, and then hit start. Now it's going to do a boomerang again. I am so impressed. Like, this has been the windiest day that I've been flying this drone, and it is doing perfectly fine. Like, I am so amazed that there is so much wind. This thing is flying without any trouble. It's really awesome. Like, how well this tiny little drone flies, it's really amazing. Alright, so the quick shot is done and it's returned back to its starting location. So that, my friends, is how you do quick shots, guys. I hope you find this helpful. Again, these are going to be super fun for just being out on vacation. Me and my wife went on a road trip. There was points where we were sitting at the Grand Canyon where if I had a drone, there would have been some killer shots. So I hope you guys found this helpful, and now let's go back inside and finish this video up. December 17th, 1903. If you had told the Wright brothers that their 12-second flight would have pioneered and started the innovation to the point where we now have drones that fit in the palm of our hands, fly into the sky, record 4K video, and stream that back to us live, they would have shed a tear. Honestly, your money will be worth it when you buy this kit. The very first time when you fly up and you just see your neighborhood from a perspective that you've never seen, you've gotten your money's worth, my friend. Trust me, you're going to enjoy this drone. I am so happy with this purchase. I got this not only for the purpose of just seeing things from a different perspective, but also because I'm into photography, I'm into videography, and I do lots of creative stuff with my iPhone. But what's awesome is that with this drone, you've got an entire new perspective. You can get out in the middle of a lake and record geese or ducks or turtles. You can get a perspective that you never could achieve before. And it's really awesome. I have enjoyed this drone in just a few days that I've had it. It's been so much fun. Now, I was so excited when I first got it that I literally took out the battery, charged one battery, loaded it into the drone, and started flying around. And as soon as that battery died, I could not wait for the batteries to be charged up so I could go out again. It's really addicting. Like, seriously, you're going to want to fly this thing again and again. And like I said, if you're into photography, videography, this will give you a new perspective. Now, it takes a lot of practice. Honestly, just that shot that I did of the geese where I was following them around, I used the grid lines and I just did really slow movements with the joysticks, and I was able to achieve that. But that was try after try after try. Even the geese were probably like, what is this guy really trying to do today? But like I said, just practice. The more you practice with this, the more you're going to be able to improve your skills of flying. I think the batteries alone make this combo kit so much more worth it, because if you bought these two batteries and then the charging hub on its own, it would have cost you more. So if you're going for that $449 drone by itself, just go for the combo kit. You'll be happy and you'll really enjoy the fact that you have at least 3 batteries, because when you're out there flying, time flies. and before you know it, your batteries are dead and you have to call it a day, and you're probably not going to want to. Now, once you start getting used to the controls, you're going to notice that you're going to want to fly under a bridge. You're going to want to fly between two trees. You're going to want to get your hands dirty with this drone. And that's another reason I think that this is a great starting drone, because you're paying $600. It's a small drone. It flies really well. Like, I was really amazed that all the days that I've been flying it, it was really windy out, and even in the cinematic mode, it was able to stay steady and fly exceptionally well. That was probably the most impressive thing, considering how tiny this drone is. I was really amazed at the fact that it can actually fly really well. You know, from the moment that I actually opened the box up, I held that bag in my hands, I opened up the drone, opened up the controller, connected everything, did my first flight. Everything in my entire experience with this drone has been awesome. And I really can't find anything to complain about. Seriously, if I really had to pick on something, which goes to show you that I literally have to sit here and think about something to pick on, is that maybe give me an extra USB-C cable so I can connect it from here to the controller so I can charge everything at once. But I'm not even going to complain about that and consider that even a complaint, because everything has been awesome. It's been such a great experience, and I think that if you go out and buy this drone as a first drone of yours, it's easy to fly. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but once you learn it, you're going to have lots of fun. It's going to give you a perspective that you've never seen before. It's really a great experience. You know, sometimes how great an experience is hard to even put into words. And that's what I'm finding is difficult here, is how hard it is to actually put into words that how great of a product this actually is. I've enjoyed it from opening the box till now, and I cannot wait to keep practicing and just keep having fun with this one so I can move on to something bigger and better. I'd love to play around with another drone. That's how addicting this is that now I've fallen into this hobby and I just want to do more. I want to do more. I want to learn more. I want to keep playing around with it. When a product has such a good impact on you and it gives you such a good experience, that's when you know that a company has done their job. DJI has really done their job with me as a first-time owner, and I hope that, you know, my experience, everything I've shared with you guys today, my perspective, can help guide you in the right direction as to whether or not this is the right drone for you. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, as it really helps me out. Comment down below if you have any questions. I'll be happy to help you out. And most importantly, guys, take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video.